Miz.
What's going on, Miz? All right, dude. Moving on to our next movie review. This movie, we saw a trailer for this about, I think it was 2 months ago. We kind of stumbled across, and we were just like, oh, this actually looks pretty good. It's called Lovely, Dark, and Deep. It's written and directed by Teresa Sutherland, and it stars Georgina Campbell, who was in Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
And by all accounts, I think Barbina. I think Georgina Campbell is a really talented actress. I think she's going to be an up-and-comer. I think she's got a bright future ahead of her. And when we saw the trailer for this, man, we were kind of eerie. Like, she's a park ranger, and the story revolves around like the story of the hundreds of thousands of stories about people missing in our national parks, how they just disappear. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of explore that, and we saw that in the trailer, like, oh, this could be kind of creepy. Right. And, you know, they mentioned a lot of things, like it's a cosmic kind of horror movie with some cosmic elements. I was like, oh, man, this could be fucking creepy. And there was some weird imagery in that fucking trailer. That one face where the hair is all bloody and it's up in the air. I remember that shot. I was just like, ooh, that's fucking creepy. And so this dropped on VOD this week, or it might have been last week, $9.99. And I was like, dude, we got to check this out. We got to check it out. And we ended up watching it. And, you know, Tone, you know, from a production standpoint, I think this is a really well done movie.
Yes.
The scenery it's beautiful. It's a national park, so you get a lot of great shots. The cinematography is really well done. They use clever use of lighting in the dark with the moon and all that stuff. I mean, it's a good looking film.
Yeah.
And there are some legitimately creepy moments.
Yes.
The audio is really good. The soundtrack is really good.
Very good.
It's a very immersive setting for a movie. And again, very creepy. So I was like, okay, I'm into this. And it is a slow burn at first. And I was like, okay, I'm okay with building up to whatever this is leading to. But like, other than the production though, it's a slow burn that doesn't really go anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, by all accounts, you know, with the exception to a few scenes, this is mostly Georgina Campbell's movie to carry. She has to carry this movie. This is her performance. And like, she does a really good job with it, but I also feel like you don't get to see her best stuff until like the final act. Mm-hmm. And when you go into a movie like this where her character, when she takes this job, she's kind of got like a mysterious past. And you kind of get little tidbits along the way of like what happened and her sister and something that happens to her in the woods, and you're still trying to figure out like, did she do something, or you're trying. And I'm cool with that. I love when a story has a mysterious character. Like, is this a protagonist, or is she really an antagonist? Or,
right.
But at the same time, I want to find a way to relate to her. I want her to resonate with me in some way. You can resonate with a villain sometimes if they have a story, if that's like, oh man, I can understand
what drove them
to that point. And I was looking for that. I was like, man, I really want to be able to relate to this character one way or the other.
Sure.
And by the time you get to the final act, the big, kind of a big reveal of what's going on, and more importantly, like, you're kind of trying to figure out what is the malevolent force that's causing these people to disappear and what's putting her through this just fucking weird, like, cosmic situation. All this stuff's going on, and I'm just like, okay, I want to know what's this? What is this force? And when you get to the finish, when you get to the ending, you get the type of ending that I've grown to appreciate lately is like, you don't get a happy ending for this character. Mm-mm. It's kind of a downer ending, and you're just like, oh man, that kind of sucks. And it probably would have been a much clever ending if I would have understood more about the reason it's all happening. Mm-hmm. You don't get any like clear explanation as to what is going on, why people are disappearing. I mean, you get a little bit hints in there, but it's not enough to be like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. And at the end I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I get it. It's a shitty ending for her character, and that sucks that she's gonna have to do this for a while. But it's just, at the same time, you're just like, I really wanted to know what the fucking malevolent force was behind everything.
Yeah, you didn't really get an explanation. I think that I understand, and I know Brittany's going to go with this as well too. She liked it a lot better than us, because I do feel like I understand what they were trying to go for, especially with cosmic horror. Because true, like, cosmic horror is really not on the nose. It's really the insanity that drives you from the question of what's
real. Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? Which is great, and they were trying to do that. However, when you're trying to do that in a movie, you have to still give the audience something to feel. I need a little bit of payoff. I need just something, whether it's a little bit more visual, a little bit more explanation, even if it's a couple sentences, something. Because, like, listen, the concept and the thought. I grew up in the woods. You know what I mean? So, like, there is a level of, like, unspoken creepiness living in the fucking country, right? You know what I mean? I get it. And this was really teetering a lot of that, and I can appreciate that. Like you said, it looked great.
Yeah.
The movie was actually a gorgeous film. I mean, you're literally in a national park, right? So it's awesome.
Awesome.
And even like the fact that there was things almost speaking to her was really awesome too. But like they were trying to hint and allude to, like with the cinematography, like almost like in Stranger Things, the upside down and different things as well too.
Yeah.
But it was just like fucking breadcrumbs, and you'd thinking, okay, I'm gonna follow these breadcrumbs, I'm gonna get something, and then they turned and walked away from it. Which again, if done well, that's fine to a certain degree, but there has to be something for us to be able to get, because for me to be consistently creepy, it's not always just going to be about the visuals and things of that nature. I want to know a little bit more, especially when you're teetering like potentially cosmic. We don't know. I mean, they allude to it. They kind of say
literally the only thing we get is multiple people saying they.
Right, like
they took them. They did this, and it's like, who the fuck is they?
Right, like there's like, it's almost like you get like Blair Witch vibes in some weird ways as well too.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, because like, is it what is it? Like, people are freaking out. Like, are they freaking out because they're just freaking out? Like, is something making them freak out? You know what I mean? Like, different things. Like, so I get why they were doing that, but like at the same time, like for me to come away from this, I needed just a little bit more, just a little bit more, because listen, it almost felt like it was too short, which is weird for us to say.
It's like 86 minutes. And I mean, you can do an 86-minute horror film
right,
and be effective at storytelling. But like this, like you said, it's just kind of like
it built so slow and took so long that, you know, it didn't really get to where I felt like it needed to, for me to go, oh, wow. Like even the ending, I like the ending.
I'm going to read your comment in a minute, Britt. Hang on.
Yeah, totally going to read that. But I walked away from that being like, you know, for me, like, I mean, I could literally say, go to my mom's. It's gonna be midnight.
Yeah.
Walk a mile straight through the woods.
No,
you're gonna right. That's gonna creep you.
No,
you're gonna hear things you're not used to. It's gonna creep you out. That's creepy, right?
Yeah.
This movie did that as well too. But like that's all it was. It was almost very simple creepy. Like for me to like actually, like if you're walking through woods like that and you're hearing something, you almost want to see something pop out. Red eye goes, go boo. You know what I mean? It's scary. This didn't really do that. And like, I don't want everything to always be on the nose, but like, I still felt like I needed more because they were getting so close.
Yeah. That's where I'm in agreement with you, man. Like I don't mind something that's open to interpretation. I don't mind that at all. But when I don't have any breadcrumbs at all to start kind of like piece things together or offer a different perspective on things, it's very difficult to have that conversation. The movie's a slow burn. And then the final act is actually really good. Like
some neat stuff
when things get really fucking weird, I was like, okay, I'm on board.
But that wasn't explained.
But then, boom, we're at the end, and like, okay, downer ending, which I fucking dig. I love a downer ending. I do ever since Hereditary. I'm like, I'm cool if the fucking hero or the protagonist doesn't get the fucking outcome that we're all hoping they get. I'm fine with that. But Britt says, I kind of think that was intentional. I think because of the people who really go missing and the mystery behind why, they weren't trying to give you a black and white answer as to what was behind it. For the entity to alter your reality and stuff was absolutely terrifying. I agree 1,000% with that. It was terrifying, the ability that it had. But I don't need a black and white answer, but I need to have enough like breadcrumbs there to be like, okay, here's what I thought happened. I didn't have any of that. I couldn't watch that movie again and be like, oh, I wonder if, I mean, it was just like, it's creepy, it's creepy, it's creepy. Oh yeah, that's fucking creepy. Here comes the cosmic shit. Oh, that's creepy. And then ending. It was just like, fuck, wait.
Yeah. So you're going mad.
I need more.
What's making you mad? Like, what's making these people mad a little bit? Like, you know, because like she, you know, at the end when she's in like, her almost like her mind, she's battling herself or whatever it is. Well, I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's creepy. I mean, dude, her listening to the true crime audio, and like what they're talking about, like happening around bodies of water and stuff, and everything they get into. I was like, man, this is fucking creepy.
Right.
But there's just not enough there to get me to be like, I think I know what it was.
Yeah.
It's just like I didn't get that, and it's just like it bums me out because like I'm sure there's a really good idea here. There's probably a really good idea. I just didn't know what it was. And maybe that's, like I said, maybe I'm just too fucking stupid to understand it. That's a very possible thing.
Yeah.
But I like to be able, again, I don't mind when something is left open for interpretation. I don't need it on the nose. but I just need something to like work with.
I always go back to Inception on that. When you get to the ending of Inception and you see his totem spinning, and then all of a sudden it starts to wobble, and everybody's thinking like, okay, is this real or is it not?
Right.
Like, it was just enough to make you think and debate it for a long time, whereas this one doesn't give you enough clues to get to that point to where you're like, well, is she just fucking crazy or not?
Yeah.
Like, or maybe, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know.
Right.
Like, they want you to think certain way because she's having a conversation with her boss at one point, and clearly everybody's in on it. But like, okay, so is it old? Is it natural here?
Is it alien?
Is it anything? And we never get any sort of little bit of payoff. And that's all we're saying, I think, is that we just need a little bit of that payoff.
I honestly, I don't regret watching the movie. I think it goes by pretty quick. Like, it's 86 minutes, and it's cool. It's just, I just feel like it's a little shallow. It could have gone a little bit deeper in some of the other stuff.
Funny, the water part. No, you're a funny guy.
That wasn't on purpose, but I'm going to say it was on purpose because then it sounds smart.
That.
Brittany also said, I guess I just view it as an entity or something very ancient that maybe the park rangers don't. And I agree. I don't think the park rangers understand, but I do think they understand their role once they get to a certain point. They understand what their role is. But I wanted to know what that fucking entity was, just a little bit more, just so I can be like, okay, here's what I think it is.
Or is it even really an entity? I mean,
or is she just fucking nuts? I mean, who knows? Is this like a weird cult and they all drank the Kool-Aid? I don't know.
Exactly. We don't know.
I feel like if this were a book with more details, it probably would have been great as a book. Had this been a book and been like a 2.5 hour movie, probably would have been fucking even better.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think it's one of those movies where you're going to come away from it going, sophomore effort, shows potential. Like, Teresa Sutherland shows potential, obviously, as a director and as a writer, but like, I want to see where she can go to next in terms of storytelling. I love cosmic horror. I think it's fucking awesome. But I need things to be explained just a little bit more.
Right, because even calling it cosmic horror is, I mean,
kind of a stretch.
Kind of. I mean, it's
there are some elements you're like, okay, there's cosmic horror.
Right. There's a lot of like, the thought process of this whole thing is very Lovecraftian, but like even in that too, like, you still get more, I feel like, and we just didn't get enough. That's all. So anyways.
But no, we want to get you guys to go thoughts. I do think there is room for discussion on this. I just don't know if there's enough for a real big back and forth as to here's what I think it is or here's what I think it is. And I mean, again, if you have some insight on this, if you have some perspective, or if you're
lost in the woods,
or if you're just lost in the woods watching the show, let us know what you thought of Lovely, Dark, and Deep. I mean, it didn't review incredibly well. The audience score is kind of mixed, which
sounds like a porno.
It does sound like a porno. But like I said, everything about the movie, everything, it has a lot of good things going for it. I just feel like the story could have been a little bit deeper. Yeah. Not deep, but deeper. So this should have been called Lovely, Dark, and Deep. Maybe that's the director's cut. Lovely, Dark, and Deeper. Yeah. Director's cut, 3 hours long. Give me
3 more foot of water in the lake.
I mean, hey, whatever. Just give me more of an idea of what this entity is that's causing all these issues. But let us know in the comments below what you thought of Lovely, Dark, and Deep. We would love to get your thoughts and however the hell you interpreted the story. Yeah. Maybe I'm missing the point. I don't know.
Let us know.
But we want to